Peace, brothers and sisters. Another video. I came across this very interesting video about Mohamed, what's his name, Ben Salman. This is the Prince of Saudi Arabia. What he's talking in this video about, because it's in Arabic, sorry, I'll have to translate what he's saying. What he's doing at the moment, he's doing some house clear up. Right? He wants to clean up all the hadith. And as I told you before, hadith is everything that is written about the Prophet Muhammad after his death, basically, and what he was doing and what he was saying and all that, and we're supposed to follow. So what he's saying is we need to clear it all up. Okay, there's about over 200,000 hadiths. There's so many books that, God, I think it would take a person 3 lifetimes to go through them, to actually get to know what the message is that was sent from Allah. I have to go through all them books just to get the message that what Allah wants me to do, and that's impossible. Anyway, he said he wants to clear it up. Okay, he wants to go through some hadiths. This is the channel, just in case you want to, if you're an Arab, you can watch this video. Okay, so what he's saying is that we need to clean it up. Okay, let's listen a bit.
من السنة أغلب المدونين الحديث في تدويناتهم صنفوا الحديث بناء على تصنيفهم الخاص مثل البخاري ومسلم وغيره إنه حديث صحيح أو حسن أو ضعيف لكن في
It's that all the people that actually wrote books about the hadith, they actually because there's few of them, but the main ones are 6 books for the Sunnah and 4 books for the Shia. Al-Kafi for a Shia is number 1. And you've got Bukhari and Muslim. They're the main ones. They're like Sahih. They're Sahih. They like they checked all the narration and all that, and the Sanad and the Matan and everything. It's so many things. I'll have to explain it in full details. Anyway, he said that some hadiths come from a group to a group to a group to this moment, basically. You know, and there's some hadiths. From a single person to a single person to a single person to a single person to probably another group and then to a single person, so it changes. So those ones, the sanad is da'if, which is weak, okay? And you have the da'if, yeah, that's the da'if, and there's a mawquf and mawdu, and there's so many things. I'll have to explain it better next time. Anyway, he said, we're only gonna go by al-mutawatir, which is like a group heard it from group and gave it to another group to this day. See what I'm saying? So we're going to keep those ones, but to do that you literally have to really clear up, okay? Because mutawatir is basically, to my knowledge, none of them are, okay? None of them are. There's not a single hadith that jama' after group after group after group after group after group, okay? There isn't a single hadith like that, I think, yeah? So he's saying we have to keep them hadiths like mutawatir, yeah? So he's gonna have to, apart, you know, because I read a little bit into it, and mutawatir, some of the hadith, they call it mutawatir, but it's not. Okay, it's not really mutawatir, but they accepted it as mutawatir. Okay, so he's going to keep just those, and that's going to be about not even 120 hadith. Okay, so he's going to keep 120 hadiths. Okay, and some of the hadith they're going to be, it's going to make one small book and call it Sahih something, Sahih, I don't know, Sahih something, I don't know. Probably he's going to call it. I don't know. I don't really care. So basically, what Ben Salman is doing here is just keeping one book, okay, with the Quran. Just one book. It will become one book with the Quran. So obviously, it's still going to be a Sunnah, but it's going to be one book. So the rest of the books, okay, you can, I don't know, burn them or something. I don't know what you're going to do with them, because that's so many books. Okay, there is unbelievably so many books. It's just amazing, astonishing. All right, that's all what he's trying in this video. Okay, but that's not my problem. My problem is here. Okay, I don't have a problem with all that. You can get rid of all of them if you want.
مثال الزنا.
Okay, here. He wants to give an example what sort of hadith he's going to keep. Okay, so he gave the example of the adultery. Okay, let's hear it. Yeah.
في مصلحة واضحة للإنسان، فلا عقوبة على شأن ديني إلا بنص قرآني واضح، وتطبق هذه العقوبة بناء على كيفية طبقها رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. فيعني مثلا لو بضرب.
Okay, he said it's not going to be any punishment. Okay, after this book is done, it's not going to be any punishment unless it's in the Quran. The punishment is in the Quran, and how the Prophet Muhammad actually practiced that punishment. Okay, so to do that, we have to go back to the hadith. Okay, so it's always going to be hadith. It's going to be stories about how the Prophet Muhammad punished people and what punishment. Okay, so what he's trying to say is, clearly he's trying to say that if the punishment is not in the Quran, we go back to the hadith. So you see what I'm saying? So
الزنا، الزاني الغير محصن يجلد، الزاني المحصن يقتل، وهذا نص واضح. لكن
okay, that is my problem. Okay, he said he gave an example of adultery, people who commit adultery. Okay, we have two types of people in the Quran. Okay, there is a free people, which is, they call it muhsanat. Okay, and there is slaves, but they're not really slaves, not in not like the traditional way, if you know what I mean. I'll go through this in a minute, because there is in the Quran, but it's not being a slave as a slave. Okay, I'll explain it. So if it's a free person, it's we kill him. That's what he said. Okay, we kill him, we stone him. Okay, that's what he meant. We kill him by stoning. If it's a slave, we just give it 100 lashes. Okay, and he said this is like okay, this is obvious.
الزانية رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وقال رسول الله أنا زنيت، بما معناته الحديث الذي نحفظه نصا صد عنها أكثر من مرة، إلى ما صرت عليه، بعدين قال لها اذهبي إلى من تأكدين أنت حامل ولا.
Okay, now he's talking about a hadith from Muslim, which is talks about this woman that she committed adultery, and she went to the Prophet, and she was pregnant. She went to the Prophet and she asked him to actually punish her by obviously stoning. And the Prophet saw that she was pregnant, and he told her, no, you go back, have a baby, and then come back. So she came back with a baby after having it, and then she said, I'm ready now, you can do it. And the Prophet said, because it's obviously what he's trying to say, that he's trying to find excuses not to do it. Okay, and then the Prophet said, no, the baby's still young, go and feed him and everything after 2 years. So after 2 years she came back with a baby grown up, and then he's basically stoned her to death. Okay, okay, let's get what now. I don't need to speak, he's not saying something different.
ونفس السيناريو تكرر، قال اذهبي حتى تضعين، وعادت له مرة أخرى وقال لها اذهبي حتى تفطمين، وممكن ما ترجع، ولا سأل عن اسمه ولا سأل عن من هي. فكون انك تاخذ النص القرآني وتطبقه بطريقة غير اللي طبقها الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم، وتبحث عن الشخص اللي تثبت عليه التهمة، بينما الرسول أتاه المتهم معترف وعامل بهالطريقة، هذا ليس شرع الله. وانك تجي تطبق نص شرعي، تطبق عقوبة بحجة انها عقوبة شرعية ولا يوجد فيها نص للمعاقبة في القرآن او في الحديث المتواتر، هذا ايضا يعني تزييف للشريعة.
Okay, now you said, so now the punishment, even if it's not in the Quran, we have to go back to the hadith, okay, and trying to find punishment there. So it's always, the Quran is not fully detailed, okay. So the Quran is not complete. It always goes back to that. Trust me, it always goes back to that. The Quran is not complete. Okay. Okay. Now we're gonna come back and I'll tell you where this stoning come from. Okay. That's Br Shamsi with his books. I don't know what you're gonna do with them now, Shamsi, Mr. Shamsi. What are you gonna do with your books? Why don't you call what's his name, Ben Salman, kafir? Isn't he a kafir? Was it like, you know, a Kale BBK lane? Okay, your books, you're not gonna need them soon. Okay, anyway. Now let's look where the stoning come from. First of all, stoning is over, okay? It was in the Torah. That was what stoning is, and it's not in the Quran. There isn't a single verse in the Quran that says الزاني والزانية فاقتلوهم. I mean, there's no killing in Islam. There isn't any killing, okay? There isn't. Can't kill anyone. See what I'm saying? You can't touch anyone. You can't even look at someone the wrong way. You understand that? That's Islam. That's a proper submitting to Allah's words. You know what I mean? But let's look where this stoning come from in Islam. Okay? Where the stoning come from is from a hadith, from Sahih al-Bukhari. Okay? And it's ahad. I mean, it came from one person, which is one of the companions of the Prophet Umar ibn Khattab. Okay? From him to another person, to another person, to a chain of people, until the Bukhari, apparently Bukhari, because we're going to come back to that. I'm going to explain the Bukhari and everything, yeah? Okay, so there's a hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari, which is the second book after the book of Allah. The most correct book after the book of Allah, that's what they call it, okay? Okay, there's books with the book of Allah, and this one is one of them. And that's what he says in here. That's what they're telling us to believe in and follow, okay? If you, any Muslim or any, I don't really care. If you call yourself a person, okay, with a brain, listen to this hadith, okay? It's sahih, right? Sahih. Listen to this hadith, okay? And see what you think, yeah? Use a bit of your head, right? This is from al-Bukhari. I'm going to read it in Arabic, then I'll translate it to English, okay? Al-Bukhari عن عمر بن الخطاب إن الله بعث محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم بالحق وأنزل عليه الكتاب فكان ممن أنزل الله آية الرجم فقرأناها وعقلناها ووعيناها رجم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ورجمنا بعده فأخشى إن طال بالناس هنا عمر يهضر فأخشى إن طال بالناس زمان أن يقول قائل والله ما نجد آية الرجم في كتاب الله فيظل بترك فريضة أنزلها الله والرجم في كتاب الله حق على من زنى إذا قامت البينة أو كان الحبل أو الاعتراف. Okay, now this is in Arabic. Okay. Now, what he's saying in English is Umar ibn Khattab, one of the Prophet's companions, said that God sent Muhammad and sent with him a book. Obviously the book is full of verses, okay, and chapters. But he sent with it a verse. It's called Ayat al-Rajm, which is a verse of stoning, okay? And he said, we read it, so this verse was a revelation, okay? Part of the revelation. And they read it, they practiced it, and they thought about it, and they actually studied it. They're saying that the Prophet stoned. After his death, they done the same thing. They stoned as well. And then he said, he's scared if, let's say, a period of time goes by, and then someone said, we can't find this verse of the Quran in the Quran. So basically, the book is the verse is in there, but it's not in there. So we took away the verse from the Revelation, okay? But obviously the punishment stays. It's so confusing, I know it's so confusing. The punishment stayed, but the verse is not in the Quran. But it's in this hadith. And he said that the rajm is in the book of Allah. So it's in there, but we can't find it. And then I said, you have to do it. This is part of the pillars of Islam. Like, we have to do it. وَالرَّجْمُ فِي كِتَابِ اللَّهِ حَقٌّ. It's the truth. So we have to do it. Okay? So that's what Ben Salman is talking about. Okay. And then I'll go back to the the hadith about Muslim. The one he was talking about is hadith al-Ghamidiyya. Okay, it's in Sahih Muslim. Okay, so what he said, and there's another hadith about this, the same Bukhari, because every hadith has different. It's like a different from different people. You see, and then it's always story changes a little bit. And it's the same hadith. It's another hadith about this ayat al-rajm that it's been eaten by an animal, basically, by sheep or something. That's why it's not in the book. So basically, I told you, it always goes to like the Quran is not fully detailed. Like there is a verse that Allah sent with the Prophet as a revelation, but the Prophet didn't put it in the revelation. That means the Prophet, a Prophet as a messenger, Muhammad as a messenger, didn't really do his job. That's what he's trying to say. If it's a revelation, it should be in the book. It should be in the book. If it's not, we don't need to use it because it's not. Because it's only one revelation, it's in the book. Okay? But we're not going to stop there. Sorry for taking a lot of time. Okay? Now you know about the Bukhari, yeah? Okay. Now what we're going to talk about is, now we go back to the Quran, see what Allah said about that, okay? It says about the adultery, yeah? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. Chapter 24, verse 2, Surah An-Nur. الزاني والزانية فاجلدوا كل واحد منهما 100 جلدة ولا تأخذكم بهما رأفة في دين الله إن كنتم تؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر وليشهد عذابهما طائفة من المؤمنين. Okay? Basically, this is talking about the muhsanat, the free people. Alright, the free people. Like, as I said before, this is about the free people. Okay? Okay? And then, this is the punishment for the slaves. Like you call them slaves, but they're not slaves. I explain it again. I explain it another time. Okay? There's another verse, Surah An-Nisa, chapter 4, verse 25. فَإِنْ آتَيْنَ بِفَاحِشَةٍ فَعَلَيْهِنَّ نِصْفُ مَا عَلَى الْمُحْصَنَاتِ مِنَ الْعَذَابِ. Okay. So the muhsanat, which is the free people, have 100 lashes. And what's this ayah saying about the slaves? فَإِنْ أَتَيْنَ بِفَاحِشَةٍ فَعَلَيْهِنَّ نِصْفُ مَا عَلَى الْمُحْصَنَاتِ مِنَ. So they have half the punishment. I will read it in English again. Okay? Okay. Now, same verse in English. The adulteress and adulterer, you should whip each of them 100 lashes. Do not be swayed by pity from carrying out God's law. So this is about the free people, okay? The adulteress and the adulterer. You should whip each of them 100 lashes. Do not be swayed by pity. You know pity when you know the hadith about the pregnant woman who commits. It's like the Prophet wasn't going to do it. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like he's saying he's trying not to do it. He's finding excuses. But here Allah said, don't have any pity. That's it. He will not do that. Okay? From carrying out God's law. This is about the free people. Now we come to the slaves, all right? The slaves, if they commit adultery, an adulterer, their punishment should be half of that for the free women, okay, or men, obviously. Okay, so it's the same. The punishment for the free people in the Quran is 100 lashes. For the slaves, 50 lashes. That is the punishment in the Quran. There is no stoning in the Quran. There is no stoning. Okay? And to basically to make sure, okay, Allah said to make sure the punishment is right, you need evidence. You can't just go there, like someone come to you and say, oh, I committed adultery yesterday. I don't know, man. If the guy is probably not right in the head, you're going to kill him. You're going to stone him to death. And if Allah was calling about stoning, all right, how do you stone someone half to death? You know what I mean? So for the free, you have to stone him to death, kill him. How was it? If for the free is stoning to death, has half a punishment 50 lashes? It makes no sense. It has to be 50 half stoning. It has to be. You can't go from stoning. Half the punishment is stoning. It's not 50 lashes, is it? It's apples and pears. You know what I mean? So where did you come up with that? It's unbelievable what they come up with that. It's unbelievable. Okay, it's unbelievable. Okay. Let's now find how. You can't just go in there and start stoning people and lashing them and all that. So you have to have evidence. And to have evidence, you need to have this. This is in the Quran. وَاللَّاتِ, this is chapter 4, verse 15. وَاللَّاتِ يَأْتِينَ الْفَاحِشَةَ مِن نِّسَائِكُمْ فَاسْتَشْهِدُوا عَلَيْهِنَّ أَرْبَعَةً مِنْكُمْ فَإِنْ شَهِدُوا no punishment after that. So you need 4, okay? And when you say the fahisha is like, we'll explain it again. In the future, inshallah, we're going to explain what fahisha is. So basically, zina is fahisha, okay? So, وَاللَّاتِ يَأْتِينَ الْفَاحِشَ مِن نِّسَائِكُمْ فَاسْتَشْهِدُوا عَلَيْهِنَّ أَرْبَعَةً مِنْكُمْ. So you need أربعة شهداء, okay? In English, those who commit adultery among your women, you must have 4 witnesses against them, okay? From among you, okay? So you can't just bring anyone and just say, oh, come with me, you can pay him and take it. So it has to be from you, from your surrounding, so people that you know. So you can make 2 people lie for you, but it's always someone who's not going to lie for you. So it's hard to have 4 witnesses to this sin, if you know what I mean. You see, that's how hard it is to prove it. It's not. So a woman came to the Prophet, she told him she's done it, and he didn't have the proof, and he just stoned her because she told him. It just doesn't make sense. The Prophet would do something like that. Why would he stone anyone? Allah didn't ask him to stone anyone. Why would he stone her? Where did that stoning come from? It's from the Torah. I mean, this is what what Allah said about Naskh al-Ayat. That ayah of the verse of the stoning in the Torah is not in the Quran. It's stopped, that's it. That ayah is old. It had its own time and it's over now. Okay? Not in the Quran. Can't do that. He gave us another punishment, which is lashing. And you have to prove it. You have to have 4 witnesses. And good luck finding 4 witnesses to anything like that. Do you know what I mean? So zina is actually you have to find someone in the act. Not because you find 2, like a woman and a man, that means that's a zina. That's not a zina. That's something else. Do you understand? So you have to find them in the act, doing it. Then you need 4 witnesses to that, for you to actually perform the punishment. I don't know what you're going to do with your books. I'm really worried about your books, man. Because you called us kuffar, right? Because we actually just use the Quran. You called us kuffar. Well, there you go. Ben Salman, he just took away all your books. Just like that. Why don't you call him a kafir? You know why. Wassalamu alaikum. Peace, brothers and sisters.